There is a lot happening in the crypto market right now, along with all the other markets. And when you are looking at data, you understand that some of these data points does give you a lot of information. Say, for example, this is correlation. XRP, BNB, and Doge out there. And I'm surprised to watch after the FTX collapse, it does seem like they are highly correlated. Now, you can put in a lot of different assets, and what you will see is they are not coming anywhere close to this correlation. They're dropping, right? Now, there are few more which actually does this, but in the market, you have thousands of assets, and that's where you need to understand some people are moving out, running out of the market, but big guys are slowly increasing. Yes, it does seems like Bitcoin going into the exchanges are increasing. That's like, 4.5x in last 24 hours, which is wild. So when Bitcoin is bouncing right now, some are literally preparing to move out of the market. So it does seem there is a lot happening in the market. And when we are looking at the macro side of this is dollar. It does show it is going to print a possible pattern here, which is bearish. Now, that's bullish for crypto. Why is that? You look at the comparison between the dollar, Bitcoin, and the entire crypto ecosystem, and you see something which is really clear here. We can understand dollar drops like this, and what's the key point? The percentage of drop in dollar, because if you are going all the way back 10-20 years to see if that's true, you will be getting more information, and that's something interesting when you put on this inside there. And that really gives us an idea of where we are going. We're going to break those down. But before that, look at the market. There is a lot happening in the market right now. IMF is right now giving you some indication. Then in the crypto market, when you're getting ideas from different political figures, whether you like them or not, they are now slowly coming out and giving the ideas. And not all the ideas which you see in the crypto Twitter space can be true. Now, what you have to understand is when it's about technicals, it's what you see in the chart. It's what I see in the chart. That can vary from one guy to another, and we can speculate. But when it is about a structure which is clearly defined, it's really hard. You may have to do your due diligence and make sure what you're listening to is right. Whether it's me or anyone else in the market, make sure you understand what they are talking. Let it be Wall Street Journal. Elon Musk comes out and kind of shows them clearly that's not the reason why it happened. So even if you are getting something from the media, mass media, you may have to do your due diligence. And that's where I'm coming. Now, I don't have anything negative with this guy. That's completely fine. You all can listen to him. But just my 2 cents. When we are talking about the price action, price going nuts, it's all good, great. XRP is one of the biggest asset which I hold, and it's up to speculation. Anyone can think properly and come out with something. But when it is actually about how much a bank will be holding, it's not about World Economic Forum or other conspiracies coming into the play. Imagine there is a small bank in India who want to buy in. They can buy whatever they want, but that finally completely depends on their asset allocation structure. What is the basic for that? It's all based on their corporate finance policies. Now, right now, as I do CFA, I know a lot more in this space. And especially, I'm looking more into how banks invest. What are they looking at? What are the different types of investments which they are doing, right? So crypto comes in an umbrella of alternate investments. And alternate is not just crypto. There is a lot of other stuff. So not everything is going to the crypto space for sure. And then XRP Ledger is a private open source ledger. All of us know that. So if you want to buy more, you can buy more. And what's important there is the liquidity in the market. This is 24-hour liquidity for XRP right now. That's 1.2 billion. Now, no one bank is actually going to buy big amounts heavily in one day, because they again have their regulations which shows them you can only drop this percentage of the daily liquidity in that asset, right? So if they want to buy in, they will have to buy slowly, and that is the only reason why we see distribution phase and accumulation phase in the market, right? Now let's break through the technicals and give you the real idea of what the market is going to do most likely in next couple of months. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of crypto. Now this is technical analysis. I have my thoughts, you have your thoughts. You can see whether that's right or wrong, but what we are trying to think here is, does the history support this? So right now when you look at dollar dropping like 8%, you are going back each time when the dollar dropped below 8%. Here it continued to the downside. Here it continued to the downside. Here it stopped, but it was not 8%. Then you go back. Here it was 6%. It did not drop further. It continued back up, consolidated there and went up. Before that, if you are looking the same structure, anything which went below 8% continued further to the downside. So that's like, okay, dollar is showing you a trend. If it's dropping below 8%, the chance for the price action to continue further downside is higher. Now you try to look at this. Okay, fine. This is all good, all great. When the dollar is bottoming, you kind of see the crypto market peaking. So right now the question is, do we think the crypto market is at the peak and we are going all the way down for a bear market, that kind of thing? What is this? Now for crypto, we don't know. Agreed. But this is the past for dollar. Great. So we all agree that this is a bottom, a local bottom for dollar. There is no doubt in that. Now you extend that and come up here and ask the same question. If the history shows you that here, when the dollar topped out, crypto bottomed and consolidated, great. Then here, which actually means, yeah, that was the bottom for dollar and most likely the local top for crypto market. And now that's coming down. Then when you see the dollar dropping like this, now the next question is, what are we up to, right? So that's why looking at a long-term scenario like this helps. Because when you go all the way back and talk about how dollar is working with the entire market ecosystem, it does show you this. When the dollar market is coming down, the entire crypto market is going back up. This is Bitcoin and the total crypto market. Great. So then you see dollar coming down, great, and crypto going back up. Dollar going back up, crypto coming back down. Now you see this again and again in a lot of different sense. Now what we have to observe is like when you zoom in, that's what it matters. Right now what's happening? Now this is a little bit more short-term scenario, so the accuracy can go down. But what we observe right now is crypto is going down, great. Dollar was going up, fine. But now take these out and ask that question to yourself like, okay, what's dollar doing right now? Do you really think dollar has more space to go back to the upside, or do you think this trend line is broken? It may go further to the downside. Now, based on the history, it does see like, okay, we are going to come back down and there is a lot of possibility that you are going to drop further to test all these supports. Now, previous resistance turning into the next range of support, which is going to be a great thing for crypto market, because at that time, we expect that if the history stays correct, if that's true, then we are going to go back up. Now, that's in the side for the dollar market, which is the macro scenario of what we are looking at. Then we come on inside the crypto market. We see there is a lot of volatility fluctuations all happening. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, this is a 3-day chart which shows you that there is a potential for a double bottom. But at the same time, what we are eyeing right now is this area, right? We want to see whether we're going to go back up or get rejected to the downside. So what are the odds? Now, this is again a daily chart, so the accuracy can be lower. But what we observe here is that the width between two moving average is kind of at its peak and it's slowing down. So last time when it slowed down, the price went in that direction of the short-term moving average. Before that, again, that happened to be true. If that's the case, we may go back up, but that's on a daily. Then you go back on a 3-day and you see there is a possibility that you may come back down first before you go back up. So the short term suggests it can go up, but the medium term suggests, okay, before it goes up, it can come down first and then continue higher. So you need to keep that eye there and say, okay, this is the possibility which we are looking at. It went up, but it can come down and then bounce back up. But now the negative scenario, if it comes down and break this level, that definitely means this is going to continue to the downside, which is Bitcoin dominance going down means that's good for altcoins, but not for all the altcoins. Because when you go here and turn the other side, you see a lot of coins which were doing fine in the recent past and now getting hit hard. Fine. And they are reaching a trend line which is valid on the macro levels too. So now you're at a point where you see market being super volatile and you see a lot of assets moving into bear market. So first thing you have to ask is like, okay, if that asset has done 3-wave structure and now doing wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, this is like the bear market and it's trying to go find its bottom, right? That's fine. There are a lot of different assets like that. You go look at Link, which is one of the hardest part to actually recognize this. But when you are looking at this, you will see first impulse here, and then it consolidates all this way. It puts a bottom here. Then it goes up for another impulse. Now you'll get the clear 1, 2, 3 structure in the microwaves. But again, you will see how the price moves. Then it makes a bottom here and go back up, slowly make a bottom. So it's not that perfect, but we'll still be able to see a 3-wave structure after which the price is going down. So if you remember back here, that was way early, right? Back here, 2021 Jan or Feb, we were calling that this is topping out, 3 waves are completed, get out. Now that's the same for Chainlink, SNX, if you go look at that asset, or you look at Luna, Solana, FTT, we had those calls. But what's the hard part? This market has thousands of assets, so you cannot get every asset to be perfectly correct. But what matters, in my opinion, is that if you are able to move away from those assets which are completely going to be obliterated, then it's much better to stay in the assets which are going to have utility, which have technicals to the upside. Let it be volatile in the short term, but medium to long term, it does show you upside. So right now you see a lot of different assets inside this market doing the break out of this accumulation. This is your accumulation zone. Then you come back, you do wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. That's all good, all great. Now you see the exact same structure in a lot of crypto assets in their history, right? You can go back in this one and say, okay, this was wave 1, but this is not wave 1, but the confusion will still be there. That's why you see like this. The breakout of the accumulation, you come back, you start to do your wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3. That's how the last market cycle ended for this asset, right? Here, just with one correction, right now we are so tired because a lot of crypto institutions are getting busted. That does mean a lot of people are losing money because we have seen how the economy is doing. We understand that that's really bad, terrible. But we also see there is a lot of FUD happening in the crypto ecosystem. Right now, when Coinbase gives you this idea that they have around 40 billion in reserves, that's a little bit positive. Because if they are going bankrupt, that's a lot of bad thing. Then we look at what's happening here. Now, this is actually something good. It's all great. Things are evolving. But they're actually trying to argue that Ether is not a security. Give us some clarity. So now I'm like, okay. So that speech, which kind of gave you the green light, is now not there. Even Ether and the investors in that are in trouble with the SEC. I think like, okay, the crypto ecosystem went down. Now they don't have much more money to give them, fund them. So they are trying to screw them back. Maybe that's a scenario. Now this is my wild speculation. It can be wrong. But again, that's my thought process, right? It can be wrong. But what we are looking at in the market for XRP precisely is this. If we are coming back here 0.3, 0.33 or even a wick lower towards 0.29 like this, that's actually okay. That's a support zone. But right now the MACD is showing it's going to cross to the upside and RSI have not broken to the upside. So I'm like, okay, last time when we did this, when we crossed to the upside, we still had some more downside before we eventually continued back to the upside. So we put in a low of 0.29, then went on to test 0.55. But before that, you had this drop, right? So if this recent history is being followed, that means you may not actually put in a higher high. Now, if you do that higher high here, now you have higher odds of testing this one. Then if you break that, okay, you are going higher. Fine. But before that, if we follow this one, we literally have to sit and wait to see whether this asset is able to break this trend line. Now, you can get more clarity by zooming in. So when you zoom in, you will see how the lower highs are being put in. And if we are able to break this one, it's a little bit positive for short-term scenarios, because right now on a daily, it does show you like there is some upside, but we don't know whether we are going to break to the upside. And if the weekly kind of goes in line with that daily structure, which is actually positive, if the daily is actually able to cross to the upside and move up, that means here in the 3-day chart, you're going to observe this rounding back up in the positive territory. That's what it matters. That's a huge thing, because that's happening at a time when the RSI has retested. Usually the retest and bounce creates the bottom, which is, the hard part. We can always see like, okay, the price happens to be breaking to the downside. It's actually going up. All that here, you broke to the upside, you came back to retest, and that was the capitulation bottom there. So this retest, if it's holding and bouncing, this will be so bullish because we are not dropping. That means any dip in the price is being met with a lot of buyers, that now there are no enough sellers to push the price to the downside. Rather, buyers are trying to get more units, chasing the price. They are willing to pay higher price to get that asset. So if we are in the market in that scenario, it's clear that market is going to do something, because right now this doesn't look good for me. I don't understand how we can literally make sense of this. But inflows to exchanges, in which fiat exchanges is like 150% up, and then crypto exchanges is also up, same, but you see a lot of people moving out. They're moving to fiat, right? Some of them are moving to altcoins. So altcoins should be moving much higher, and that's why we are doing this Bitcoin dominance chart. And like, okay, if that's happening, Bitcoin dominance can drop. That's a positive news. And that's what the data here suggests. And then we go back and look at the real money, which is waiting aside. When retailers are slowly moving out, you also see the USDT coming into the exchanges, which is a positive news. So if you are in the market, make sure you understand the general layer of this market so that you are not getting trapped in a lot of different assets, because some of them are really in a horrible situation now, breaking through a macro support, and few of those with utility are also breaking that level, which is concerning. But then you see some of these highly correlated assets holding on to one layer of support and moving above, which is really positive for that group of assets. So if you are interested in that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And if you have 5 more minutes to watch, you can go look at this new channel, which we have started recently, and inform if there is any improvements to be made. For me, I know there is a ton of improvements to be made, but I would really like your opinion and your support in this as well. So that's it, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.